welcome to Kerry's Cards. I'm going to show you today, I'm going to use the Bee My Valentine Suite that's in the new Stampin' Up mini catalogue that came out on the 4th of January. I'm going to show you how to make this lovely little card here, ready for Valentine's. So it's got a little belly band on it. You can see down below all the papers that we're going to be using. We're actually going to just use two. But this little one here has a little belly band on that when you lift it up underneath it says happy anniversary, and you take it off, and then when you turn it round and open it up, it's got a little bit of a peekaboo card inside. So I'm going to be teaching you how to do that mechanism inside today using a punch and just a normal card. So let's get crafting. Here's the card that we were just looking at. So it's a little bit of a peekaboo card there, but the basic outside card is what we call a gatefold card. But we'll go through that step by step. We're going to be using, as I said, the Bee My Valentine suite of DSP and the punch as well that comes with that. But along with that, I put the measurements here, so everything that we'll be doing, let's just move that over so you can see it a little bit better. The measurements there, not quite straight, there we are, of all the different bits of card that we'll be utilising in this. I'm using a 2.5 circle punch here, but you obviously can do your own with a die cut as well if you like, but I'm just going to use my punch that I have here to make the holes. So let's get crafting. I'm only going to use 2 pieces of card papers from here, and the card that we're utilising or using today is this one with the marmalade pots on the back, or honey pots on the back, and the one with the flowers on, so that one. So let's pop the rest out of the way. So we're going to use this one here with the ribbons, swirls, pop that to one side. The other thing I've got here already is some die cut hearts, and I have a circle that I've used the crinkle circles die. It's just slightly bigger, and it is about, just so you have an idea, in centimetres, in inches, it's 2 3/4 inch circle. So it's just a bit bigger than the circle punch that we're going to be using. I've also already pre-cut myself a label for inside where we're going to stamp the greeting. I'll just put all those to one side up there. So let's get our red base card, and we need that to be cut at 8 inches by 5 3/4. By 8 inches. And then we're going to score at 2 inches and 6 inches. We also need a piece of card that is 5 3/4 by 2 7/8. So 2 7/8 is just 2 down from the 3. And that needs to be 5 3/4. In the middle, and then from this part we need to get 3 inches. So a little slither left there, and then rotate it round 90 degrees and cut twice at 2.5 inches. Sorry, 3.5 inches, not 2.5, 3.5 inches. And then I need you to score using your score blade or your score pal at 1/2 inch on each piece. So we have 2 pieces there. The rest we don't need. We then need a piece of white card, which is measuring 3 7/8. by 2 3/4. And then when looking at our designer series paper, we're going to need back up here, creating the middle part of the card here. So to keep it nice and strong, what you'll see here is this is a piece of card, but then I've laid the DSP over the top. So that's what we're just going to cut the size to size now. And this needs to be 2 3/4, 2 7/8 in width by 5 3/4. And we also then want 2 strips for either side on here that are going to be 1 inch by 5 1/2. So 1 inch. These need to be 5 1/2 inches. Get rid of that bit. And 5 1/2 inches. Okay, those two. And then for the front, I'm using the same as what we did for the middle of the inside, and this needs to be 1 3/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And 2 lots of these, so 1 3/4. And that's left us with a few on the back that we're going to be cutting these out, fussy cutting them out later, by 5 1/2 inches. By 5 1/2 inches. And then finally we need a piece of the Daffodil Delight for the belly band, and basically I'm using the whole width of the A4 card, and it needs to be 1 1/2 inches in depth, because that will be just enough to go round the card. Okay, so that's all the cutting we're going to be doing today at the moment. So we'll put our DSPs to one side for decoration later, and our belly band. So the first thing we need to do is get our middle pieces that we're going to have here, and we just need to stick our designer series paper onto our what's this one called, Sweet Sorbet card. And the reason we're doing this now is to give it a chance to dry, because we're going to actually punch a hole out of the middle to make our peekaboo moment. Just layer that one up. There we are. And just let that dry off a little bit. Whilst we're waiting for that, I want you to take the 2 pieces that we've cut to do the pull-out mechanism, and take in your bone folder. Just make it nice, because this is a moving card. We need to make sure that all the elements that we're doing are crisp, and it'll help with the movements that we're doing. So put those there. Now we've got this one here. To make sure it folds nicely, sometimes you might not actually have just scored this quite right. So rather than going straight into bone folding them together, I tend to bring them in and try and make sure that they meet, which they should do, using your trimmer, so there's no gap in between. And then when I'm happy, I'll then push that down so that there's no overlap. You might be just slightly off or wonky, but if you do it slowly like that and build them so they meet in the middle, then that gives you a really nice fold, and there's no overlap on the gatefold when we shut it. Okay, so that's those two. So we can decorate the front bit already. So take our 2 wider pieces and pop these on here. There we go, that's those 2. I forgot to cut a white piece for the back, so let's cut a white piece for the back. that needs to be, that might be the right size already, 5.5, almost, by 4.75. Somehow I've lost my school things, fallen off my, oh, I'll find that later. So that's for the back, so we can pop that on the back now. That's the back. Okay, so let's work on our inside now. So that should have had time to dry off. Now you can put your punch anywhere you want, up and down there on the top. So I'm just going to do it by eye and guide where it is in terms of punching. If you wanted to not punch this and to use a die, you could obviously run that through the die cut on a smaller one to fit the gap there. And then you know that you've definitely got it centered, but I'm just going to do it by eye. I'm going to come down a little bit, so it's about just below halfway in terms of where I've actually popped the punch, and I punch up. There we have our hole. So I've done that quite well, quite proud. Level either side. Now this piece we're going to keep, because this piece then is used for our belly band. So we're just going to stick it down on the other side. So we can pop that straight onto our black circle that's slightly 1/4 inch bigger. So we don't lose it, or throw it away or think it's waste. So that one's going to go there. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we need to pop this, the white piece, into here so that when this mechanism is working, it's centered, or it's going to be on there. Now in my card here that I've done as a demo, I've actually I've used the punch that goes with it and punched out a bumblebee, but it does stick a little bit, you can hear it as it shuts, but it does still shut, so you can do that. But we will do that for this one. We'll make a bump and we'll stick it in. And then we need to make our folds that are here. So these two pieces are going to then fold, we're going to stick them where this line is here and line it up with where the white card is. But we haven't stuck anything down yet. This is just making sure that it's all in the right place. So the first thing we're going to do is taking our peekaboo flaps, for want of a better word, we're going to take our circle punch and we're going to punch, make sure it's level either side, out, and that's one side. And then we'll do exactly the same on this one. Again, if you haven't got a punch, you could use a circle die, that would work just as well. And that's our other one. I'm going to keep these two, I don't throw anything away, and I'll show you a card I made with these after. Now these two pieces, we're going to use some glue, or you can use some double-sided tape. I'm going to use some glue because I don't have any double-sided tape to hand. And we're going to put glue on the backs, and this need to make sure this is nice and solid because it is going to be a moving part. Okay. And what you need to do is line this end up with the crease mark or the score line on the right hand side of the score line on the right hand side, and then we'll do exactly the same on the left hand side, but this time I've just still kept that in there as a guide. Put the glue down again, but you need to make sure that when you pop this down, so we're going to do the left hand side now, and that needs to marry up with the left hand side. Nothing is stuck down yet here, so we'll move all. But when we do this, we need to make sure that these two are level. So if you use the glue, can you see how I've made sure that they're level across the top and the bottom? If you use wet glue, you've got a chance for them to actually move a little bit to line them up. So once these two are down, just wait and hold for them to dry. And once you're happy with that and they're drying or drier, you can then pop your white card down in between the two and level it out. You don't have to put the white card in. You could leave this and not have it in there. But the idea is that it makes it stand out a little bit more in the circle. Now, so at the moment we've got our two flaps, we've got our white piece of card, and we've still got this piece that we've not done anything with. What we need to do now is, if you fold that down like that, you can see that they sort of overlap. And if you put your circle over the top, I can tell that these bits are sticking out. So it's not a clean circle, whereas this one, when you open it, is a nice clean circle. And all I've done is cut off about ½ an inch off the end of where it overlaps, so it stops them overlapping. Just taking my scissors, may even be an inch. Now when you do that and pop it over the top, you don't have the sticky out bits there. Okay, and the idea is that when they fold on top of one another, and the mechanism will do that. Now, the next step is to pop this down. And what did we do on this one? I've stuck the wings on and everything like that. So what you could do is to make it move slightly easier. Here I've put the wings on already, but if we go like that, and I get my stamp set, what we could do is pop, I've got a bee red shape there already. So what I tend to do in my stamp sets is I cut lots of little bits out and keep them. If I do lots of stamping, I might just keep them and hold them for a little bit and pop them in the stamp box so I know where they are. What I could do is I could stamp my wings behind there, so it's one less thing for the card to catch on when it opens. So I'm going to sort of do this by eyeball. My bee is going to be there, and then my other one will be about there. And we also need the antennae in there. Antennae, is that what you call them? Beely boppers. Again, roughly doing it by eye. And should we have a smiley face or a winky face? Let's go a winky face today. So the winky face. There we go, it's quite cute. Now what we could do is we can colour in those wings later, maybe with some sparkles or something, or some Wink of Stella. Okay, and then let me glue him down. Right, put it down there. Let's pop this away a minute. Now we need to line up, or we can stick these on while we're waiting for that to dry. A little bit of glue, and that's going to go down the inside on the left. And I'll put the other one on the right. There we go. Now, to make sure this works properly, what we'll do first is we put some 3D foam pads on this side here. I need some new ones. This off the pack. And we'll pop a couple of them along the bottom. Peel them off. Then we're going to place this where we think it needs to be in the centre, just by eye. And that's to make sure that when we close it, they still close. The mechanisms will still move. And then if we're happy with the way that looks, which I am, then we'll lift it up on here and pop some more 3D foam pads. You need the height to be able to give these flaps a chance to move underneath, so they've got the space to move. And then you can just pop it down there because it's already in the right place. And hopefully, you may need a little bit of encouragement. So it might be stiff, please don't worry, look, that's caught on the bottom. Now, so you might need to do a little bit of tweaky. Look, I've bent his tail, look, poor Bee, because I haven't stuck it down, so let's make sure we stick him down. You might prefer to stamp the bee directly onto the card, then you know you've got nothing to catch on when it moves. It's still doing it. Okay, so it will open and shut, just needs a little bit of help. Okay. So then let's build our belly band. So this, we'll move on to this bit here. So our yellow piece that we had, what I've done with this one is, the first thing I've done actually is to pop some pattern onto the yellow card. You don't have to. If you don't have the stamp set, don't worry about it. You could do anything. So I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight and get the hexagon shapes, or the honeycomb shapes, and quite literally just randomly do our stamped honeycomb all around. Once we've got the stamp set open, let's do the wording. So let's bring this one in here and do that you'll be loved. Now I always put my stamps down first and then pick them up to make sure that they're nice and straight. And then I'm going to stamp this slightly off centre because I want to put the honey pots down. And then let's get another stamp block for the wording on the inside, which was on this one, and I did "I love you no matter what." Not quite big enough. Okay, that's that one. So there's our two bits that we've stamped, but don't forget, on the back of the card that we had hidden, remember, we also had our Happy Valentine's Day hidden underneath. So let's get that piece as well, which is that one. I did it in the middle so that the belly band hides it. And I've stamped a bee there. Should we do that? Should we stamp it on? That one's a punched one. Let's see what happens if we stamp it on instead. Oh, wrong way around. So that needs to be yellow. That's the yellow one. And then get our black for our body. That'll be. We need our heart wings. And our antennae, which we put back in here. And do a smiley face now. Okay, so that's that side done. I'm going to do some, I'll put some Winkle Stella on that in a bit. So I think that's all our stamping done now. Make sure we can check. Oh look, his tail's really funny now, isn't it? So you do need to make sure you glue him all the way down. Let's see if I can lift that one up over the top, and that might be better. There we go. So that's that. Oh, we're doing the belly band. So the belly band, rather than doing any score lines, all I do is make sure I bend it round so it gives it free movement, so it's not too hard, and then it should just cross over. And when I say just cross over, it literally does just cross over. So you're going to put the smallest amount of glue, or the thinnest amount of glue, down that side there, and just hold that in place till it dries. Shouldn't take too long, but it's really snug. It's a definite snug fit for the belly band. And now I'm going to take it off, because what I want is the actual seam to be on the other side, because so the seam is on the same side that you open it, because then I'm going to layer this on top so it hides the seam. And by doing that, we'll just put a dollop of glue, and that goes there. We'll hold that down. And then the other thing that we had here was the hearts, so we'll put our 2 hearts on there. 1 and 2. These ones are from, I can't remember what it's called now, the one where you spin the wheel. Let me show you a card for this one here. So it's from this die set here, where you can make the things spin round. And you have hearts and circles and all sorts. Can't remember what it's called. That'll come to me in a bit. I'll put it in the information online underneath. From there, once we've done that, we need to then get our designer series paper and cut out our pots. So we've got a couple of pots in here. So I've done 2 on there. So those 2, and then on the inside I've cut another 4 out just to lift it. And then when we open it up, oh, look, the tail is gone again. I'm going to put some more glue. Okay, I'm not going to touch that now until that's dry. Then we'll put some 3D foam pads on for this, because we can lift the logo up again, or the sentiment. Let's cut all the holes out. Push them all out. in the middle. Do a little bit of fussy cutting. Always make it a bit smaller than I need it to be. It just makes it a little bit easier to turn. When I fussy cut, I tend to turn the paper rather than the scissors. So there's one. These are good shapes. They won't take long to cut out because they're not too intricate either. Apart from maybe these little bits of string, but I can tell I'm concentrating. I've gone quiet. Two. It's up to you how many you want to add, or you might not even want to. You might think you don't need them. Around. A few more, but you get the gist. We've just cut some shapes out. Whoop. That way. And then we can load these onto here with a little bit of glue. One there, one there, and then on the inside a few, put one down there. Now if you wanted to, you could get some shimmer and just pop that where the wings are on the inside, and don't forget the back as well. Look like real wings. I'm not sure if the camera will pick that sparkle up. Can you pick it up a little bit? There, can you see? Turn it over just a little bit in there. There we go, that's the right angle there. And that we have our, bend it now. There. If that does catch, then you just need to bend, put your finger through. And there we have. Oh, we've done it that. I've put it on that way, but you could have it on the other way as well. That way round. Nope, pop it up. So you can have it either way. So you can give the card that way or that way. But either way, it's very pretty. So there we have a pop-up card. Now I mentioned I kept these pieces here just to show you a quick way of making another card, and that is this one here. So these are the red circles that we cut out, and I just used the hexagon stamp pad, and then I use these wings to create the petals around the edges of it, and then cut out some bees and add them on with their little dotty bits there, the flight path. But that's one way of using up some extra little bits of card rather than throwing them away. But for today, the main one was making the peekaboo card. So there we go again, peekaboo. Okay, happy crafting. You like this? Oh, don't forget to subscribe and come and see what other videos I've made. Many thanks for listening. Bye.